These encounters start off normal until something impossible happens.
¡Ay, güey, no mames! ¡Ven, acércate!
Be it real witches that were caught on camera to creatures that come out in the darkness of the night. Each clip turns with an ending that you won't see coming.
¡Ay, güey, no mames! ¡Ven, acércate!
Two witch hunters ventured into the remote countryside of rural Mexico after reports of dark magic. Curious and determined to get to the bottom of it, they began investigating the outskirts of a nearby village. As they moved deeper into the forested hills, they stumbled upon something unexpected, a hidden cabin tucked away on a slope, almost invisible.
¿Cuántas se encuentran esta noche en este lugar?
As they entered, they discovered a toy doll tied and surrounded by several candles in a star shape, which represented the devil.
Eso sí es un trabajo fuerte, ¿eh? Tiene alfileres, miren.
It was evident from this point that they interrupted an ongoing witchcraft. Things got even more interesting, as the perpetrator responsible for it appeared peeping into the cabin from outside, but disappeared soon after.
¡Ay, güey, no mames! ¡Ven, acércate! ¡Ay, güey! Espérate, güey, no mames.
Oh shit! What the?
Two men who were passing through the woods in the dark until they noticed a mask that was hung on a narrow tree trunk. As soon as they took a few steps after grabbing the hanging mask, one of them noticed a stranger wearing a similar mask that suddenly appeared and started chasing them.
Do you see that over there?
Oh shit! What the?
When it's dark and you're in the forest, one can only imagine the intention of a suddenly appearing masked stranger. Could it have been some kind of robbery, prank, or something far scarier? Certainly, no one would want to wait around and find out. Terrifying dwarfs chasing. Two young farmers who, after hearing echoes coming from around their fields, decided to check it out. As they got close to the source of the noise, they spotted two of these bizarre entities who could best be described to be dwarfs. Aside from their dark, long hair, even the faces and attire were polished to look black. Upon being detected, these dwarfs started growling towards the farmers, seconds before chasing them off. It is unclear if these were humans or some supernatural beings making a physical presence. Creepy masked couple. In January 2015, a chilling incident unfolded at Parnell Railway Station in Auckland, New Zealand, when a group of film students encountered a masked couple lurking near their school. While hanging out near the station, the students noticed a man and a woman in matching white masks standing eerily in the tall grass, staring directly at them. At first, the group assumed it was a prank, possibly fellow students trying to scare them. But the situation quickly turned serious when they realized the masked pair was armed. As fear set in, the students began recording the scene, capturing the couple slowly approaching them with unsettling intent. The encounter, both surreal and terrifying, was caught entirely on camera. Petrified Ritual Tribe. Seeing this, it's hard to tell whether you should be terrified of these tribesmen or the one who petrified them. A tourist and an explorer who, while passing through a village in China, was left astonished by the sight of this. Large crowds of locals or tribesmen who look to have been in the midst of a gathering, either for cultural or spiritual reasons. This line of individuals spread out for more than a dozen meters. The mystery as to how they all got petrified remains unsolved. Trespassing witch.
Hey, Juanita, mira, Juanita.
A woman named Juanita was spending a peaceful afternoon on her land with family and friends. While on a walk, she spotted a gathering that was in the midst of what looked to be a dark ritual. As it became clear they were witnessing witches at work, fear began to spread among the group. But not for Juanita. She stood up and boldly commanded the witches to stop in the name of the Holy Spirit. Then, to everyone's astonishment, she ran straight toward them, confronting the dark figures head-on and managing to bring one of them down, forcing the others to flee. Haunting una bruja.
Nossa, é caipora! Calma, caipora, calma.
It is unclear if this is some actual una bruja or just a girl who got taken over. Two men had decided to explore an abandoned farmhouse close to the woods. Just as they thought the place to be deserted, they were confronted by this wandering figure. At first, it made its presence acknowledged before starting to chase them slowly and steadily as they started to run away. It is unclear as to the nature of this entity, as well as its intentions, but it certainly wanted them out of its territory.
Caipora! Calma, caipora, calma. Oi, cara, oi.
Private land intruder. One evening, just as the sun was dipping below the horizon, a farmer was making his way to the fields when he noticed something odd in the bushes. At first, he thought it might be some cloth caught on a branch, but then he realized it was shaped like a person, standing completely still. The scene was so strange and unsettling that he pulled out his phone and recorded it. When he showed the video to his friends later, they immediately pointed out how much it looked like a pocong, the ghost from Indonesian folklore wrapped in a burial shroud. Raiding skinwalkers. Life has a way of throwing the unexpected at you, like this boy's trip that turned into something terrifying. While they were laughing and enjoying themselves, one of them suddenly spotted a pair of glowing eyes watching from the shadows. He quickly turned on his flashlight and started filming. That's when they realized they weren't alone. Several figures, resembling skinwalkers, were surrounding them. One clung to a tree branch before leaping down. Another crawled silently through the underbrush. One sat perched in a tree, and another stood nearby, staring intently. Panicked but determined, the boys grabbed whatever they could. Nets, sticks, and ropes, preparing to defend themselves from whatever was closing in. Vlogging zombie.
This is my YouTube account, Alan Tutorial, and Alan Tutorial shows people.
A clip that was randomly filmed by an unnamed source showing terrifying limbs, almost as if he were fast turning into a zombie. The man was running around the forest, pulling down trees, presumably after cutting through the trunk.
Whoa!
All the while revealing his infected and scratched skin, along with extremely long nails. With no visible shoes, shorts, or sleeves, it's safe to assume it wasn't wearing anything.
First thing you need is a kind of cloth.
Combine that with the audio, which should certainly be convincing enough that whoever or whatever this was, it would be super risky for anyone to be around him.
Whether I forgot. The thing you need is a kind of cloth.
Crawler in the woods. A group of youths who were out on a camping trip in the dark sensed the presence of something spooky before they spotted this. They only noticed after it entered their camp while they were returning from a walk after lunch. Its spooky nature was convincing enough to send anyone running for their life as a result of the panic, which only got worse as the source shared that the crawler did pursue them for a short while. Awakened Skinwalker. One of the most concerning cons of living in the countryside is when unexplainable beings like this appear. While driving through a quiet stretch of farmland, a motorist caught strange footage of a tall, human-like figure standing still in a field, staring up at some high-voltage power lines. The figure looked oddly thin, with long arms and legs, and no clear face. Locals say this isn't the first time something weird has been seen near those power lines. Was it watching or waiting? Cave Sentinel. In 2022, a group of tourists exploring near the entrance of the Veryovkina cave captured unsettling footage of a humanoid figure seated cross-legged just outside the narrow opening. At first glance, it appeared human, yet its skeletal form and unnerving stillness set it apart from anything natural. The figure didn't move or react, almost as if frozen in the present, but somehow not part of this world. The eerie calm and lifeless posture led some to believe it could be a spirit or energy tied to the cave itself. With no previous reports of similar sightings, some have even speculated that it might be a guardian or silent sentinel of the depths below. Silent Forest Ghost. In 2016, a girl was discovered under mysterious circumstances in a remote Indian village. Unlike typical ghost tales, she appeared completely normal, pale-skinned, dressed in white, and able to speak with those who found her. Her sudden presence puzzled locals. Some believed she may have wandered in from elsewhere, yet no missing child reports matched her. Others whispered darker theories that she wasn't a lost child at all, but a spirit trapped in the forest, unable to move on. With no clear answers and no past to trace, she remained an eerie enigma, caught somewhere between the living and the unknown. Gigantic snake skin. It's not just the length, but also the width of this snake skin that makes this quite concerning for any hunter or fisherman. Two best pals who were heading for a fishing trip. When on the way, they discovered this unbelievably huge shedded snake skin. After briefly inspecting, they decided to cut their trip short in concern for their safety. After all, certainly no person would want to be coiled up and swallowed by something this huge. Ghost animal. The more you look at it, the more baffling it becomes. While driving through an undisclosed forest in Canada around midnight, a driver encountered an incredibly strange creature walking a few meters ahead of his vehicle. Its lower body resembled that of a boar, while its broad neck bore distinctive black and white stripes, eerily similar to a zebra. Most unsettling of all, the creature was carrying what appeared to be a similarly sized wild feline predator in its jaws, exuding an aura of extreme danger that discouraged any thought of confrontation. Despite having traveled the same route numerous times, the driver was left completely stunned, unable to make sense of what he had just witnessed. Ancient Behemoth's Remains. While exploring remote mountain regions, a researcher stumbled upon massive rock formations that strikingly resembled human faces and limbs. Too detailed, he thought, to be mere erosion. Digging deeper, he came across alternative history theories linking these formations to the Nephilim, giant beings described in ancient texts like the Book of Enoch. According to fringe researchers, these giants may have been petrified during ancient cataclysms, either by divine punishment or forgotten technologies. This discovery led him to consider the possibility that these mountains weren't just geological features, but fossilized remains of a pre-flood race. Tied to the idea of Earth undergoing multiple civilization resets, these petrified forms could be echoes of a long-lost chapter of humanity's past. Forest Wall. Having to discover a wall in the forest is a dead end that no one would have ever seen coming. A lone hiker who was exploring the Siberian wilderness happened to find this huge wall deep in the forest. Now, this wasn't some mountain or rocky higher ground, rather a wall that can be classified only as man-made. Several long trees and much of the surrounding vegetation that grew in and around it, blocking the path towards the wall. It remains a mystery as to who built this wall or why. Upside Down Ghost. A delivery driver had a chilling encounter when a strange, crawling figure in the middle of a rural road blocked his route. What made the creature even more unsettling was its bizarre appearance. It had a twisted, distorted chest, glowing eyes, and wore something white. Most unusually, it also seemed to have a beard, an odd detail for something meant to appear threatening. Despite the driver's repeated honking and flashing of headlights, the figure refused to move. Unnerved and unsure of what he was dealing with, the driver chose to turn back and find another way, rather than risk getting any closer. Hybrid animal. This bizarre-looking stray dog was spotted in an open, grassy land, seemingly grazing. It looked to have a body very similar to that of a horse, with only its head that looked anything like that of a dog, as well as its body size. Possibilities of this being some kind of animal deformity were also raised, but that doesn't seem to be much of the case. Haunted hammock. Among all the haunting tales out there, this one looks to be rather quite the chill. A video filmed by possibly a paranormal investigator showing an abandoned canteen cabin in the middle of a forest. Although no one was thought to be present visibly, at least until a hammock was seen moving, almost as if someone was having the time of their life. It created a vibe that was spooky enough to keep the recorder far away and from checking it out in person. Petrified fossils. Deep in the remote wilderness of British Columbia, Canada, an adventurer stumbled upon a bizarre and eerie sight of figures that looked like giant snakes and towering beings seemingly turned to stone. At first glance, they resembled man-made rock carvings, yet their haunting detail and lifelike forms gave the unsettling impression of something out of myth, as if Medusa herself had passed through. While some argue they are simply concrete sculptures, the sheer isolation of the location, miles from any sign of civilization, leaves room for wonder. Could these petrified forms have once been living creatures, frozen in time by forces unknown? The mystery remains, etched in stone and silence. Fairway spirit.
What the?
In Florida, near a quiet golf course, a viral video captured what many believe to be a ghostly figure, visible as the silhouette of a man walking along the edge of the field before vanishing into thin air. Viewers noted his distinct walk, a wide-brimmed hat, and what looked like a kimono-style outfit. While skeptics claim it's a digital hoax, the filmer insists it's authentic. Strangely, locals recall an elderly golfer who passed away about 10 years ago and was often seen in a similar hat. He loved the game deeply, playing until his final years. Some now wonder if his spirit has returned to the fairways he cherished most.
What the?
Mazamitla forest lurker. Deep in the mountains of Jalisco lies the forest of Mazamitla, where locals and visitors alike believe strange creatures watch from the shadows. In one viral video, a humanoid figure is seen spying on cabin guests, prompting others to share similar encounters of a figure lurking in the woods. Locals report hearing La Llorona's cries, spotting goblins, a woman in white, and even the sound of a baby crying deep within the trees. With so many unsettling sightings, one can't help but wonder, was it a cryptid, a djinn, an alien, or something else entirely? Underground demons magic. A series of clips was shared by a concerned remote cabin owner showing several narrow horizontal holes within the ground all around the property. In them appeared to be some kind of demon or spirit with shiny eyes who would quite often be up to something. At first, it sent out a glowing orb that bounced around the hole several times before returning, probably to get attention, and then smoke. As the owner attempted to investigate, it stared at him from down the hole. The owner even tried to trap it inside a cage, to which it responded merely by sending out a bright light. Vanished hiker. Back in January 2019, a disturbing video surfaced on social media just days after a hiker was reported missing, possibly proving the old saying that nothing good happens after 10 at night. And that curiosity can be deadly. In the eerie footage, recorded by the hiker himself, the camera briefly captured a shadowy figure or creature leaping at him in complete darkness. Despite extensive efforts by seasoned hunters and trackers, the hiker was never found. According to them, whoever was responsible had likely been stalking him and waited for the perfect moment to strike, though nothing can be confirmed, as the footage was later found to be garbled and corrupted. Forest Goblin. On March 30th, 2017, during a forest expedition in Indonesia, a group of bikers had a chilling encounter with a goblin-like humanoid. Out of nowhere, the small, fast-moving figure appeared and struck one of the riders with a cane, knocking them off their bike. Fortunately, the shocking moment was captured on a GoPro worn by one of the bikers. The creature's speed was unreal, and after that, it quickly vanished into the dense forest. A few of the bikers tried to pursue it, but lost track almost immediately. All that remained was the strange cane it left behind. To this day, no one knows what it was or why it engaged. Mystifying anomaly. A dog owner was out for a walk along with a friend who happened to be filming as well. While the recorder was distracted within his camera's field of view, this bizarre being appeared out of nowhere, behaving almost as if it were up to no good. It was only noticed later while reviewing the footage, which wasn't clear enough to identify the nature of this creature. Crippled Little Rada. A driver who was moving on a narrow road through the forest until his path crossed with this unknown figure. It looked like a humanoid, but with an extremely malnourished nature, so much so that it could barely even crawl to move. Despite this, the driver decided to sit tight, being spooked by its presence and thinking it could be a trap. He later turned around, going back, hoping to find another way around. Open discussion. This picture and video were captured by a photographer on June 13th, 2021, in an undisclosed location. Using a high-quality camera, he managed to zoom in adequately to record what looks like an ongoing ritual sacrifice of some kind to summon the devil. Several men dressed in white robes can be seen standing next to a funeral or sacrifice pyre. The exact details as to what was happening here remain a mystery.